It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the planet, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. So much going on, and wow. Now, as we have told you, was a story Fox News, top of Fox News and elsewhere, that the federal government has told Trump, you know, the Iranian government's trying to assassinate you.
Right.
And this is on top of Matt Gaetz, which we still don't know. I don't know why that hasn't been expanded, the Matt Gaetz story about 5 different assassination teams. And you asked me the question earlier, could they all be? No, because I remember they said one was Ukraine-related. Remember he said that? So are the other 4 Iranian?
Yeah, I think there were a couple that weren't related to 3 others, if I remember, in terms of the claim that,
that's right.
that Gaetz was saying.
3 were international, 2 were domestic.
Yeah.
I think is what he said.
Right.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard anything else on that.
And so it was a couple of weeks ago we heard that Iran was trying to assassinate Trump, and that was because of the Grassley letter, which then he pulled because the federal government wanted him to pull that.
Right.
For security reasons, whatever. And then the story came out about Trump, and then a day and a half ago, the story came out in Time magazine about the 3rd assassination plot. And the arrest of a man by the name of Asif Merchant, who was arrested on July 12th. And we've gone through everything there. Now, the feds seem to be onto him early when he landed in the United States, because he came here to find assassins here in the United States. And what they say is the leaked story that came out, this is a leaked story that he was looking to find assassins for $1 million to do a hit on the president. He himself did surveillance of a Trump campaign stop. Now, they didn't say where. I didn't see where. Did you?
No.
I didn't see where.
No.
Where and sent back to Iran, the specifics of how many metal detectors there were, security around it,
right.
How far the podium, all those different things that you would want to do. Well, I just want to read the last couple of paragraphs of this Time magazine story. Iran's espionage efforts have never been consistently impressive, but the sheer number of recent assassination attempts can look like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. In the U.S., at least, not much has. Meanwhile, in Iran, the men who arranged assassinations are under pressure of their own. And we had talked earlier about there was a plot, or still is a plot, to kill John Bolton and Mike Pompeo. The Bolton one that they found out about was a $300,000 hit on John Bolton, former national security advisor for Trump, and then the former CIA director and Secretary of State for Trump, Mike Pompeo, was also a $1 million hit for Iran. But as they write here, as the plot to kill Bolton dragged on, the man who replaced Soleimani, who was in charge of steering the events from Iran, confided to a recruit that having missed the anniversary of Soleimani's death, he was worried that the job would be taken from them if not completed soon. By contrast, going by the legal documents, the affidavit from the FBI, Merchant brought a salesman's confidence at the hotel. He put the informant's cell phone in a drawer when they spoke and told the purported hitmen that they should get untraceable cells. So the purported hitmen were a couple of operatives from the United States. Even on those, he said, they were to speak in code, pretending to be part of a clothing business that would serve as a front. merchant jotted the key on a rectangle of paper that was still in his wallet when he was arrested. T-shirt would refer to the protest, the protest that was going on.
Right.
Flannel shirt was stealing. Fleece jacket meant the assassination. He added one more, denim, as a code for sending money.
Right.
As a start, he handed the two undercover agents who he thought were the assassins he had hired $5,000 in $100 bills. Now, the number one question I have? We hardly saw leaks at all during the Biden administration until, obviously, you saw dereliction of duty from law enforcement.
Yeah, right.
The FBI informants, both of the FBI, for example, what they were doing, taking down license plate numbers of parents, mothers and fathers who were concerned for their daughters in school, the transgender women, men, biological men, were using the restroom. And this happened after a sexual assault, as you remember.
Right.
And those were a couple of the FBI agents that said, we couldn't do this anymore. We just couldn't do this. We could not do it. We had to become whistleblowers. You saw the IRS whistleblowers for the Biden IRS problems. The IRS and what was the other one there?
The FBI whistleblowers.
No, I'm trying to think of what for Biden's son. They were going to drop. Remember the tax charges on him,
right,
on Hunter Biden,
right.
But they came forward then and said they're not doing their job. They're not doing their job. They're trying to. The law enforcement, instead of investigating, it's trying to push it under the rug. And so they came forward for that. I wonder what drove the leaks here. Number one, there was a whistleblower who came forward, according to Grassley. And number two, all this information, because I'm looking at the information, I'm seeing pictures right here of the money, of the pad, the notepad that the Pakistani man who was working for Iran was jotting down notes that he wanted to tell who he thought, the assassins were, the different codes. There's pictures. They've got pictures and stuff.
Right.
Who leaked this kind of stuff? There's a ton of. You're talking about a possible assassination of a former president. You're talking about the information there has got to be under the highest level of security. Why would that be leaked? What was the motivation for leaking it? The motive, and the reason I'm saying is the only motivation for whistleblowers is either massive dereliction of duty from law enforcement,
right,
or law
what
breaking.
you're trying to uncover. Yeah,
right.
You need the public to know why. And on this, why?
Yeah.
Because you're going to the media with it.
Because if the investigation's being done legitimately and you're trying to go after these people and not bury this,
right,
and this is going to go into a court of law, why would you leak it? What would be the reason for the leak from an administration that hardly leaked anything?
Right.
As we know.
Right. And Time says that the FBI didn't answer questions, but they did express their concern about the leak. Well, okay. Is that the obligatory, we wish it hadn't leaked? Why do you put that out there?
Yeah.
Because this administration, again, is funding Iran by not sanctioning them. They're allowing Iran to fund operations like this plot.
Yeah.
So is it somebody who believed that the administration was going to keep this whole thing secret? This would never see the light of day unless they took it to the media. It's the only thing I can think of. It certainly didn't come from the top. Hey, let's get this to the media.
Well, you always look at motive in any type of crime, right?
Right, right.
Or any type of cover-up.
Right.
Why would you leak it? Okay, follow the money trail.
Right.
The money trail is that Trump had sanctions on Iran. They weren't getting money for terrorism. One of the first things Biden did was reverse that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know as well as I do, this story, when it gets out there, the Time magazine, I mean, I'm sure Republicans will be jumping on this story.
Well, Times had it. I mean, they published this Monday.
Monday night. Yeah.
So
at some point, Republicans are going to connect the dots.
Right.
And say, wait a minute. See, they're taking this money and attempting to assassinate a former Secretary of State and the head of the CIA, Pompeo, former director of or former National Security Director Bolton, and former President Trump. And you would think that the knowledge of this would say, okay, and Iran's doing it? Yep. Is there any doubt? Nope. Stop the money flow now. Right? That's what you would do. That's what any president worth his salt or giving a damn about national security of the United States would do, because, hey, you might be next on the target of Iran. You're not condemning Israel enough. How do you know you're not next when you're out of the presidency?
Yeah, what else did the leaker know as to why did that person want this known to the public, to the world?
Was there going to be an attempt to bury it? I don't know how, but you're trying to figure out why this was leaked.
Well, once you briefed Trump on this, it wasn't going to stay quiet. But did they have to brief Trump on it because it leaked?
Well, they briefed Trump on this. They also briefed because there's supposedly more than one coming from Iran.
Right.
And so if you look at this and you see the money they wanted to spend here and the money that would take to get an infrastructure of 30 people involved, as they said here in this in the Time article, that's money, the $1 million you'd need. And as you brought up earlier, is this just one of many? Well, if they told Trump there's more than one effort, because this one's over, this effort's over. They've got this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So there are other efforts out there, and that's being funded by money from Iran. Where do they get their money from? And did they want it quiet for another month and a few days?
Right.
Because somebody who's running for office is part of the administration that is funding Iran.
Again, were they forced to brief Trump on it because this dropped on from Time magazine on Monday?
Yeah.
I mean, the story came out a couple of weeks ago.
Without the specific details.
Right.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, they didn't brief him back then. They may have, but we didn't. There was no story about it.
Well, that was from Grassley's. We knew that story because that was from Grassley releasing what the whistleblower had told him, but there were no names or specific details like this.
Right. Yeah, they named the guy.
Yeah.
So many questions here. But it gets down to this. If you have any doubt, or if you had any doubt, all of that should be gone. And Iran should be choked out of the oil markets. No more. Put the sanctions back into place. This is stupid. It was stupid to begin with. We're coming up on the anniversary of October 7th, and we have to stop Iran. And it's a very simple process that one man has the power to do right now.
Well, here's the thing: when they wanted to take out Bolton, Bolton had nothing to do with the Solomon wasn't there when Soleimani was killed,
right,
and targeted.
Right.
He wasn't there. They still want him dead, and that's why I'm saying Biden is paying people who wished him to die.
Right.
What, you think they're going to now? They want Harris in there because they want the money flow to continue. But once Biden's out, he's done. Hey, he wasn't tough enough on Israel. Right?
Right.
There's any excuse they want to take Bolton out.
Yeah, sure.
And so you're actually funding the people who want you dead.
Yep.
You're paying for possibly your own assassins.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
It's the world we live in right now. And again, one guy has the power in this case. He could do it.
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by Howe's Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
It could become a hurricane by the time a developing tropical system in the Caribbean makes landfall along Florida's Gulf Coast.
Florida's Big Bend or that general vicinity on Thursday or Friday. That's a pretty quick timeline to go from a storm that does not have a name to a potential major hurricane, but that is the reality that we are facing.
USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey says the potential path of now Tropical Storm Helene is one traveled by previously named tropical storms. Hurricane Debbie earlier this summer and Hurricane Idalia last year. However,
because of the angle of the coast with Florida, a very small change, though, in directional speed can result in a significant change in where that storm makes landfall.
Landfall locale and potential inland path of the system will also determine possible impacts to agriculture. But Rippey says forecasts of significant precipitation and storm surge are associated with Helene. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90 Red Eye.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Just got the latest 4 a.m. Central Time. Actually got it a few minutes ago from the National Hurricane Center for Tropical Storm Helene. Looks like, again, moving a little bit to the west.
Yeah.
And a little bit further away. People have, you look at the big population areas where it might hit, and, Tampa, was a concern. And even though they have tropical storm warnings and hurricane warnings, almost, right there, it almost splits right there when you get to Tampa. Looks like half of Tampa's under a tropical storm warning, half's under a hurricane warning. You're still going to feel the effects of the bands far out. Mm-hmm. Moving a little bit west, though, you just worry about, things like Panama City and things like that, more of a bigger population area. It looks like Tallahassee is going to get swamped with rain.
Yeah.
I know flood warnings are out.
Yeah.
Everything there. But it's still they're going to still face, right now it shows, it's going to hit as a major hurricane, and it shows it at 1 a.m. Friday as a hurricane over Georgia still. So there's going to be hurricane winds that Tallahassee's going to get hit with.
Right. So. Yeah, for sure. As they often do, they change a little bit, but certainly if you were in that area of, the Big Bend area, really, and the northern Florida area, you should be preparing now if you haven't already. The governor yesterday, Governor DeSantis, was on that. Our friends in Tallahassee certainly are on that and have been paying attention to this, hopefully, and make sure you heed those warnings.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. All right. Cardinal Dolan in New York City commented on the Al Smith charity dinner and Kamala Harris not showing up, saying that the invitation is still there. And that he hopes that she reconsiders.
Yeah.
Here's what he had to say.
We're disappointed. We were looking forward to giving the vice president an enthusiastic welcome. And we were confident that she would find this. You know, she speaks very much about the high ideals and how it's good to get away from division and come together in unity and all. Well, that's what the Al Smith dinner is all about. We haven't given up yet. We're not used to this. We don't know how to handle it. This hasn't happened in 40 years since Walter Mondale turned down the invitation. And remember, he lost 49 out of 50 states. I don't want to say there's a direct connection there. But so we're not used to this, and we're not giving up. You know who's been a help to us, Lauren, is Senator Schumer and Governor Hochul. They both are working hard to see that they convince her to come.
So there's still a chance.
Yeah, and Senator Schumer said to me, he said, I don't think she made the decision. I think her schedulers are saying she can't make it. So we're not giving up. We hope she's there.
Yeah, the excuse by Schumer.
Well, you know, it was made note that she's hardly been anywhere since last Friday. She's got like 3 things on the agenda, but ABC was talking about what was on the agenda. But when they said this has been a very non-busy week, it's really because she hasn't been anywhere major since last Friday.
That's it. I mean,
and you're like, what in the world?
Because the campaign stops really are local. I mean, you need to do them. They're just part of what you're supposed to do. But she's really not doing anything else. She's not doing anything else. It's the ads.
Well, we'll find
and the campaign stops.
We'll find out whether a quiet quitting campaign strategy works.
What do they call it? A badge showing. In other words, you the badge that you use to get in your building or whatever, your office badge. You go to the coffee room, the break room in the morning, and so people see you in the morning, and then you slide out at some point. Definitely quiet quitting here. Tell me why it would change.
Oh, it's not going to change.
There's zero reason for this to change because she doesn't have the confidence to talk openly to anyone at any time. And on top of that, either nobody's pushing her to do it or more to that point, they're telling her not to do it. She's got Brian Stelter and